Two Chaps, Many Cultures, episode number 210. And if you saw our last video, you would see that we gave you a bit of a cliffhanger. Now, between then and now, we haven't fallen off a cliff, but we have decided we're going to let you into a little bit of an event that we attended recently. Something to do with masterminding. Stick around.
This is a group coming together in harmony to solve problems, challenges, issues for one another, and being the higher room that brings into the conversation expertise, experience, knowledge, connections that we singularly may or may not have.
That you always have this tension between what you think, right, like the theory, and what actually people do, right? And that's informed by culture.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 210. We are just stacking them up. The numbers keep rising. And yes, cliffhanger, nobody fell off a cliff. We just kept you on edge, hopefully. Mastermind, that's what we did, right? And the name might confuse people still sometimes, even though mastermind groups have become quite ubiquitous by now. And yet, people might think, oh, what about mastermind? Are you the masterminds of culture? No, we're not. That's why we do these events, right? Because we want to sharpen the minds, the like-minded minds that meet for more mindful, just stacking alliterations. So now the event is called the Culture Mastermind. And this past edition that we organized and attended was held in Munich, Germany. And Brett was there. I was there. Who else was there? Can we actually say who was there? Did they not sign the confidentiality? Can we disclose that? I don't know. Brett, what do you say?
I don't know. Let's keep it a mystery. There were a number of people there. The beauty about it was that it was a small but powerful group. And when you get a bunch of people together, and this is obviously the impact of a mastermind, or the intention of a mastermind, is to become the better than the sum of our parts, right? It is to bring people together to share experiences. And I can tell you, even though we may not name the people that were there, the people that were there all contributed above and beyond, really. And that's what happens when we get in a group like this. And of course, the culture mastermind then layers over the importance of culture as an aspect of business, of self-motivation, all of those kind of things. And that's what we learned. That's what we got together to talk about.
The original mastermind concept may be as old as mankind. I wouldn't be able to expound on that too much. The way I was introduced to mastermind groups is based on a book that was published about 100 years ago, written by Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich is the book that many in the so-called self-development world hold up as one of the important pieces of work. I leave you to judge how much you like that book or not. However, what Napoleon Hill describes in that book is the idea of a mastermind, when two or more people with a definite purpose come together in order to grow together by learning from each other, with each other, and making each other better. Steel sharpening steel, so to say. So this is not one mastermind stepping down from the ivory tower to spread the wisdom among the uninformed. No, this is people coming together from different walks of life, from different industries, from different backgrounds, different cultures, different educational levels, different generations, different genders, different whatever level of diversity you can think of. However, the shared purpose is to get better in working, acting, responding to cultural diversity, to sharpen their IQ, the combination of IQ, CQ, and EQ. That's what we set out to do. And I had certain expectations for this mastermind, and they were high, and yet they were overfulfilled. I thought these were 5 days that were so much better than I could even imagine. And I'm so happy that we did it the way we did it, and that the people that were there, because everyone, just like you said, above and beyond contributed to the success of the event.
Yeah. And the mix of people, again, some people who had experience traveling and others that had never left the US, right? And so there's that experience, or the diversity of experience as well. And I was just excited because it was in your hometown. Like, it was in Christian's hometown. We got to see his hometown through his eyes. And again, that didn't mean the Christian kind of just said, here, welcome to my hometown. I know everything about it. I think I posted on LinkedIn a reflection that I had, one of these things that it's realization when we're in the town and we were exploring Munich as a city. And Christian kind of said, I'm learning things about my hometown, right, that I wasn't aware of. And isn't that like the key in terms of being in a group of people that are exposing you to something or making you look in the mirror a little bit more and see, don't assume that I know everything just because I've got this experience or this background. This is one of the key things about us teaching culture. Right. And if you can, as a leader, as a motivator, as a parent, always looking at your own background and saying, is there more to learn? And of course, there always is. Curiosity and understanding is a wonderful thing. And in culture, it's fantastic. Yeah.
And just because you think of the place, because you've lived there before, and just like I did in this case, yes, my hometown. And to be true, and to all the people I need to set the record straight. I wasn't born in Munich. So whether or not we can call Munich my hometown,
home region. Right. You certainly speak German better than me. That's one indicator of that.
All right. Okay, good. That helped. True. But even I lived in the city for many years. However, I haven't lived there in a long time. I've come to visit regularly. I haven't lived in that particular city for many years. And this is true for any place in the world. Just because you've lived there at some point, or whether you may have worked there or have gone there frequently for business trips or assignments or whatever reason you have, that doesn't mean those places don't evolve. It doesn't mean things about that place can change and morph into something that you don't know yet because you haven't been there in a while. And this is what happened to me. I got to see a place that I thought I knew through a different lens, not only my own lens, through the lenses of everybody that was part of the mastermind, because every one of you gave reflections and made me rethink the place that I thought I knew so well. And I think this is what we do when we talk about culture and when we work with our clients to help them see the multi-layered, multifaceted nature of culture, is that you never stop learning. There is never an end to discovery. And igniting or reigniting that spark of curiosity and discovery is part of that mastermind. And you might ask, who gets to go and why would people go? What's the motivation? Whatever your answer is, we love to bring people on these experiential learning events or retreats because they are at a developmental stage in their global journey where they need the extra pizzazz, where they need and want to learn more than the do's and don'ts, where they want to go beyond the initial cultural training that they had when they started their global journey. So this is perhaps more for the advanced global professional. And yet we've had, as you said, absolute beginners as part of the group, and having different levels of experience be together in a room, everyone benefited from each other. And that is what is critical in a mastermind, that everyone brings something to the table that is of value to everyone else.
And it wasn't just the participants. We mentioned the participants themselves, who were a group of people who got together and spent all of those 5 days. It was also obviously the benefit of Christian and Brigitte's kind of connections, other people that kind of wove and came into the space as separate contributors. And one of them was a previous guest on this show. And one of them, actually one of the participants was a previous guest on this show. And that, again, plugging in just for short periods of time, this specific expertise of the people that are around in our orbit is another aspect I thought was really enriching about it. It was great. Yeah.
And this is a critical piece for future masterminds. We always will bring external contributors, speakers, guest experts, whatever you want to call them.
Celebrities.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. People who bring into the conversation additional pieces of experience, data, information that enrich the 5-day retreat. So we had a senior business executive who I will not disclose the company or the position. We learned after the mastermind that he will be, in fact, become the country manager for his employer. We didn't know this when he came into our mastermind. So he's C-suite level, right? This is the type of people that we want to present to our mastermind members. And also this is the type of people we want to attract. Whether or not you are in that top leadership or not, you will benefit from it because there will be either peers interacting with you or people that will be learning from your experience as a senior executive. Bringing in that outside expertise from industries that you may have not have been in touch with is for sure an added value. And one of our participants, I don't want to say she fell in love with one of our experts, but she said, I want to carry you in my purse and have you with me because the nuggets of wisdom that you have been imparting on us here, I want that in my life 24/7. And that's the beauty, right? That people can walk away from this and know that I don't know everything. And I can trust in the universe that the people that come together here in this group will bring the missing pieces of what I need as the next step of my development.
Yeah. Hence the idea of the mastermind, to draw on other people's experience. And then in the beauty of this, and this has happened in many masterminds I've been a part of, I guess there are some people, if you don't have that experience, and Christian and I get to work with people from all different levels of organizations, from the very top to the middle management. And one of the things is that some people are intimidated to be around these people. These are people that are just willing, and usually they haven't got to the point that they've got without being generous, without sharing information. They want to pass this on, and nobody came with ego. This is what I love. The people that were there, nobody came with ego. We all came as equal partners in this learning journey, and that was great. And especially in a beautiful city like Munich, it was fun. There was a little bit of fun to this. We got to explore. We got to see the city through the eyes, of course, a German person or German people, right? With Christian and Brigitte, but also as foreigners in a new city, exploring it, not as tourists, but really looking underneath the veneer of a city. What's going on in this city? It was a wonderful experience. And on the last night, I'll just share this experience. On the last night, I was on my own, just wandering around the streets of Munich, and on my way back to catch the tram. And I ran into a group of people. I've got a photo here I'll show. And the group of people were just, you could see they were mixed. There was a lot of mixtures of cultures in this group. They had just stopped me to help me take a photo of them. And of course, when I heard what was going on, I said, where are you guys from? And they all said, oh, we're all part of a language school. We are here to learning German together. And it was Polish person. Obviously, I picked up on him pretty quick. There was also an Israeli and a Palestinian in this group. There was an Egyptian. There was a South African. And I've never seen, and you can see in the picture that you see this absolute joy in this group of people coming together and experiencing a learning journey, right? In this case, language, right? The German language. And when I said to them, what are you doing? I said, we're just out enjoying each other's company. We're together here as brothers and sisters in a journey. And I thought that was very nice. And maybe you don't see that in every city, but that really brought it home for me. And I got on that tram and went back and thought, that's what it's all about. That's why we do what we do. And that's great.
And you said that nobody came with ego, and I can only second that. And we deliberately encourage that. So every mastermind, we include a portion, in fact, the entire day that we call the day of service, which is for those who might have some lingering ego as they enter it, that day will make sure that they are safe to drop it and they feel comfortable to drop it. So when Brett says we peek underneath the veneer, a day of service will deliberately do that. We design it in a way that we see the underbelly of that which tourists admire. So we're not tourists in Munich. And I want to make sure that this is the message that gets across. This is not a retreat and outing where you only see the beauty of a place and view it through the eyes of an outsider passing by. It is an experience where we take you to parts of the place that may not be in the brochure, that may not be on the glossy prospectus of the tourism management of that place. And we, as the participants in the mastermind, we put our ego back in the suitcase and we go to the stay of service to be of service without any personal gain. The only gain that people get from it is the giver's gain, the reward of knowing that you have helped somebody else who is in need of assistance. And this, to me, was one of the most beautiful experiences and beautiful parts of this, because every one of us did their part. And the response that we got from the organization that we partnered with in Munich was so overwhelmingly positive. They said, we have seen groups volunteering with us who kind of half-assed it and show up. Your group is always welcome to come back. And I have a sense of pride, even though that's ego. I have a sense of accomplishment for us as a group about this because of what we all did. And that's, for some of us, this is an ongoing practice because we have a charitable routine. Others in our world may not have it as such. When you join the Culture Mastermind, you will get an opportunity to do this in a space that is safe for you and also gives you the encouragement and the backing of the group to follow through on that.
Yeah. The conversations that came out of within that and out of that experience were really enriching for me. Some of it where I was actually asked to confront my own privilege in many ways. And again, I won't name the participant, but I was very thankful for that, calling me in on something that I expressed. Where you often think that you're expressing something in good faith, and of course that person didn't embarrass me, and it wasn't a point of, again, it was a true calling in to say, you can think that way because you represent and are part of a certain group of people. And it's nice for you to think that way, but you don't have to do this every day. And that other person says, this is what I've grown up with. This is what I've done, right? They truly have lived that. And yeah, again, these are these little nuggets, as Christian said, nuggets of insights that are very powerful in a mastermind. And especially when you're in such an enriching and supportive group that don't go against you in terms of calling you. I use the term calling in intentionally. It's calling in, not calling out, because calling out is, I'm going to call you out on your crap and I'm going to embarrass you, or I'm going to somehow demean you or use derogatory language. And no, that wasn't the intention. But it was done in a very respectful way and a very confronting way. And I took it on board, and that was only a small thing. But I think many of us had that experience during this time.
We can't stop raving about it, as you can tell. The next Culture Mastermind isn't on the calendar yet. We're finalizing the location. We're finalizing the dates. If this is something that interests you, contact Brett, contact me now. As you're watching this, the sooner the better. We are still in the planning phases, but you never know when you're watching this. You might be watching this 2 weeks before we launch. You might be watching this 5 months before we launch. So when you watch this and you feel drawn to this and you feel this is something you could benefit from, make sure you comment on the video, you share it with others, you send us a note either to Brett or to myself, and we will do our best to include you in this. Keep in mind, though, as this might be interesting to you, we vet the participants. Right? This is something we want to make sure that it's a good fit for you and a good fit for the rest of the group. This is not to be exclusive. It is to be by intention. And a mastermind works well if it's intentional and well designed, and the participants are curated, so to say, put together in a certain mixture. And perhaps it's not the right time for you this time. Maybe the next time will be the better one. We'll see. Let's have that conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Christian. I'm going to say personally and publicly, it was a privilege to be a part of this. And I certainly want to be a part of all of them if I can be. And that's going to be any future. And of course, I'll be in different countries, different cities, maybe coming to a city near you. And that's, goals. But as far as this episode has gone, we are Two Chaps, Many Cultures, episode 210. Thank you for joining us again. Please put your comments, ask us questions. Again, as we said in the last video, we are looking for guests. Of course, we just don't want you to look at our ugly faces every week. We want a broad set of perspectives. And we've got already some people in the mix, and we'd love to hear from you too. But for now, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode 211. Bye for now.
Chat for now.